Hey guys, Aaron here. Just wanted to do real quickish lip sync demo to kind of run through some of the things I think about as I'm doing lip sync and sort of my approach to it. This does vary a little bit depending on the type of shot, depending on the character, what they have available in terms of pose library and these types of things. But I figured we'd just do one from scratch to just kind of see at least how I'm thinking about crafting my shapes and sort of the order, the things that are important to me as I'm going through. So I've got a quick little dialogue clip here. I'm working with the Ricardo rig here from our partners over at Friggin' Awesome, set up by Josh. And it's just a quick Walter White line, pretty famous line of dialogue, which is outside of the realm of what I typically coach my students to do in terms of audio. But this is just for a demo. So this is the line.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see?
It's just a quick line, and one thing that I'm hoping to demonstrate in a line like this is it has some narrow shapes, the oohs, as well as some wide shapes, right? So some opportunities to go between a narrow and a wide, and I want to sort of point out some of the pitfalls and some of the spacing types of things that I'm thinking about if I'm doing a line like, who is it you think you see? Because you have some narrows and some wides, and he's talking somewhat fast. You have to get in between them and figure it out. But this is pretty clean dialogue in terms of there's not a lot of background noise or music or anything like that. So I figured we'd just use this. So yeah, I have the MG picker here for Ricardo that I'll be using. Not necessary by any stretch. I won't be doing full facial on this. I just really want to kind of focus on the mouth. He doesn't have any animation on him at all right now. Once I put in the face stuff, I might support it a little bit by some kind of head and neck stuff just to kind of add some accents in there. There are certain types of shots where I will actually approach it this way, but I don't usually do lip sync first, but this is a lip sync demo, so I think I'll probably start there at least. Cool, so one thing I like to do a lot, not always, but often, is be in wireframe on shaded mode when I'm doing lip sync. It really helps me to kind of see how the different parts of the face are really reacting and relating to each other when I'm kind of trying to get fleshiness and connectivity in the face, which is always a goal. So you'll see me toggle in and out of that during this demo. I have a hotkey to do that since I do that so often. This is a locked off camera I have right now. This was just set up for another little ad, but I'll be toggling between that and my perspective cam rolling around a little bit. But lip sync, you always want to build it towards camera. Even if you have a pose library or something, be wary of just kind of dropping in poses that were built to kind of head on. If you're kind of in a 3/4 like I currently have imposed, a lot of those will need to be adjusted to really kind of favor camera and find that asymmetry and these types of things that are really gonna just make your facial poses more appealing. Cool. So we're gonna come in a little closer here so we can see a little more what's happening, what we're doing. So first thing we might want to do, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off his facial hair for now. Just here under his kind of master settings control. I want to be able to build really nice shapes for my W's, and then kind of I'll turn it back on and kind of adjust it as needed. But I just want you to be able to see a little more what the face is doing. Sometimes that can be in the way a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to set a key on everything before I start, just to make sure. I'm going to use this picker to select face and then just make sure everything's keyed on that first frame. I got a little bit of silence here before I start, but in a case of something like this, I do want to get in my shape before I see, in the waveform. So the first thing he says is who. So let's say maybe around like 5. I'm going to set a frame here in this kind of sort of default starting pose. In fact, let's go a little lower at the corners here, just for a little more kind of stern attitude. Just to start, do these rotate? Just to say it, I've not done a lot of lip sync with this rig, or any, so kind of learning it together. Okay, so So I'm going to key everything there on my mouth. And then I'm going to spend a couple, let me say 2 frames to start to get into my kind of W shape. Oh. So one thing that's important to kind of remember with sort of W shapes is we want to talk about perspective. Yeah, because I've cheated this too much in space. You want not only for the corners to come narrow, but you also want the kind of the whole mouth to come forward a little bit. Some rigs are kind of set up to do this a little better than others. But you know, if you have one of these kind of like whole mouth movers, if you're not already getting that functionality, just figuring out how to get a little bit of that whole mouth coming forward sense in your pucker. So in this case, you know, I like to work with a mirror. Just kind of like feel some of the shapes, and you know, I'm often like saying, you know, kind of saying the things out loud a little bit. I like to involve the nose.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it?
Pretty early. Sometimes I kind of do it in passes where I kind of add a little nose later. But as I'm thinking about my posing, I already kind of want to be, you know, trying to see, can I get the nose kind of involved in that a little bit. So like now, I feel like coming like down too much. I kind of want these nostrils to have a little bit of sense of coming in with the corners coming in that far. I'm gonna do kind of a pass later, sort of really kind of thinking about the arcs of my mouth corners. But you'll see me kind of just toggling back and forth, seeing what this transition feels like, even with just simple startings of a pose. Let's jump back to camera view, just to see how it's feeling. But later we're gonna kind of work the spacing a little bit more. But right now I am thinking of it as a full pose, meaning that I'm keying everything together, you know, that I want involved in this pose. I notice that, I guess this is happening automatically. These cheeks are kind of coming up as the mouth corners go in. I may or may not want that. It feels like kind of like opposing action. Let me go ahead and key everything on my mouth. Let's just do whole face, so I don't leave anything behind with the nose. But yeah, this feels like, when I talk about that connectivity, this feels weird that this is kind of going up when these are kind of going forward. And so really, I think I want this cheek coming kind of down and forward a little more. Feels more right to me. That kind of opposing direction of that feels a little weird. I want to feel that kind of coming forward. And then I think I need the jaw to open just a touch here. And then I think I want the corners of this zippered a little bit, just so we have the corners together a bit. And in general, when I'm doing like a W, like a U shape or something like that, I don't like to see a lot of teeth in there. We'll get to that a little more in a second, but he's just starting to get into the W. So when he does who, it's like we kind of want to get. This is not one of those like what, where you're like pulling out of the W is the actual kind of like accent. He's kind of going into it, so it's more who. And so I think as I kind of push further past what I have here, so he's kind of getting in the shape and then kind of pushing air through it. So he's kind of who. In fact, this might be a little. In fact, I might push this even a frame or two later. Who. But I kind of want to drop that jaw a little bit. Again, with the goal of getting some darkness in there, and then instead just bring this lip kind of counter, or bring this lip back up. So yeah, when I'm dropping this jaw, it's bringing kind of both lips down a little bit, and then I'm kind of countering back up. Basically, just trying to get the teeth using a tweener here in Animbot for this later key I've set on 12 or 13. So right now I'm just kind of hitting and sticking that. So I'm mostly concerned with my shapes right now. I am thinking of them as poses, even though I'm in spline, and I'm thinking about the motion of it. But I'm going to do a pass, kind of checking my mouth corners and stuff later. But I do want to build strong poses that go into each other well and work well. But timing wise, I can slide and adjust them a little bit as needed later. So right now I know I need a who. The next sound is hoo, so that change between ooh, right, is a pretty big change, and that's why I chose this clip, right? So I'm gonna go a few frames forward and just start to build that E shape, hoo, and then I'm gonna key everything again. I can key just the mouth or mouth and nose. I've not worked with this rig a ton, but this has already kind of a pre-picker for full face, which is just cleaner for me right now. But I'm not, in the sake of this demo, I'm not going to be doing probably eye and brow stuff much. All right, so now I want to get into this kind of shape. I know that it's followed by an S, so both of those are kind of wide and toothy. So I'm going to start with my corners and just kind of find what's going to be the kind of appropriate amount wide I want to go. Again, thinking about his attitude, he's a little smarmy here, but he's still kind of staying with like low corners. So I'm not going to go to like an E, like kind of textbook E, like high corner smile. But we do want a lot of teeth. I'm going to remember to turn this zipper off. I no longer want these corners zippered. So let me roll around to the perspective just to make sure that I'm getting something that's going to work here. So because I'm kind of staying low corner, I'm probably going to put introduce a little kind of sneer here in terms of the shaping of it. I'm going to undo this kind of lip adjust I had done with the, I kind of rolled these out in the rotate X for that ooh. So I'm just kind of zeroing some of this stuff back out. So I'm starting from a cleaner place. I'm going to zero these nose ones back out. I'm going to end up posing them additionally further, but I don't want them to still have that information of kind of bringing them in and narrow that I had done. So let me hop back to camera view. Yeah, getting a little bit of this. We talk about that kind of like trapezoid shape that I don't like so much. Here's the first case of seeing, that with his mouth quite wide, we see that this kind of, all this negative space that happens here on the side of the teeth, it doesn't feel like his flesh is wrapping around his teeth. You have all this kind of space here on the side. So this is where I'm going to start to kind of do that. Do that kind of 3/4 cheek a little bit, just to get a little better shape there. Just kind of idea is like tucking that. This may be a touch wide. Hoo-eh. So my teeth are usually not too far apart. On a kind of ooh shape. So yeah, for a E type shape, I don't need my jaw particularly wide. Oh, it's this guy. I'm not really using these sub controls much yet. I'm trying to use the kind of primary and secondary ones more first. To kind of build my main shape. I don't want to start introducing too much complexity too early on if I can help it. I'll go a little wide wide here, kind of match that sneering that's happening in the lip with the nose. Kind of move the whole nose up a little bit as well. Kind of feel that flexing. Who is so again, kind of just moving this back in Z space a little bit. If I hold down Control while I kind of scroll over here, kind of gives me a little bit of flavor of that. Oh, so let's see. Right now these corners are starting just neutral here. So I want to just take both of those and just tweener them then there. Ooh. Sorry, my son's sneezing. So as I'm going, like everything's relative and kind of in like relation to the next pose, and so I am stepping through these poses, kind of seeing what's changing, seeing if overall there's anything that I need to adjust. So I'm stepping through them, you know, very much like you would with the body poses, right? And seeing like what's changing and you know how do those things kind of look together? Is it playing pretty nice in that way? But trying to keep it pretty simple. I don't want to involve a bunch of controls just yet if I don't have to. And so I'm always kind of thinking in that sort of less is more, like how can I achieve it with the fewest amount of controls at first, and then I can always add some additional detail. But I'm looking, you know, for just basic appeal in the shapes, if I can get it. And then let me zero. I'll often zero things if I put something in an earlier key, but I don't know if it's useful for this particular moment. I'll often just zero it to just see what that gives me, and then see if there's any like additional stuff that's useful for that. So here, because he's pulling wide, like seeing these cheeks kind of flex a little bit, kind of helps with the anger of that. So who is, and right now you see how that's kind of like soft and mushy. I'm gonna put some breakdowns and kind of do some you know more kind of spacing work on that later on, because right now this is just a little it's just, you know, obviously just floating between poses. But I kind of like that E. That's fine. I might go ahead and open the jaw a little wider there. Oh, I keep grabbing the wrong thing for the jaw here. So I can see it come back together on the S. So I hear the S by 19. Again, I'm going to select the whole face and key everything. Here, all I'm really wanting to do is get those teeth together for the S, and then maybe feel these corners continuing to pull a little wider. Right. So just kind of really feeling that tension of that flex. You know, maybe this pulls a little up. Maybe this full mouth kind of control pulls back actually a little bit in space, so we kind of feel that tightening. And we can probably continue for these noses to kind of continue in that direction they were going, but just a little bit further. For that S is, if I want to do a little bit on those cheeks, come with them. Move them up and out a little bit more. Back and out a little bit. And you see as I roll around, you know, some of this cheating is you know, obviously doesn't look as good from perspective view. Rotating this doesn't do a whole lot, but maybe kind of feeling that when I pull down type of feel. Who is who? So I am kind of thinking about like the arc of this corner as it goes from who is. So just kind of come in a little up into that, and so just kind of feeling it out as I'm shaping it. I'm not going from any reference in this case. I'm just kind of looking for what's appealing on his face. I find if I try to like match my own like reference timing or anything on lip sync, it starts to kind of look and feel a little too much like me, which is usually not what you want. Unless the character has very similar proportions to you or something. And so I'm usually just kind of, there's a little bit of experimentation while I'm in there, just finding, I know what appealing shapes look like on this character, and just kind of finding that is sort of what I'm after. Some of these later I'll probably, layer in some of this for connectivity. I see that this kind of control around the nose would be helpful. But it feels like it's not moving enough based on how much the nose is moving. So you can probably get some of that involved. And again, having that wireframe on shaded kind of helps me see if something's moving too much or too little in that way. Usually using my tweener a bit too in this. I'll do that more once I kind of start pushing the spacing. But I just want something that feels like it's kind of moving all the kind of underlying musculature together that would be involved in making these shapes. Okay, so now we have who is it. So that's a little bit of a jaw open and mostly kind of tongue for the it, for the T of tit. Who is. So I'm going to key everything here. I'm going to key everything here again on 21. Not having moved. And so what I'm going to do then is drop back to 19 with everything, take my tweener and just ease off of that just a bit. Actually, I'm going to undo the jaw. Wait, can I? Well, no. Okay. So I'm just going to nudge off of that ever so slightly. So it gets most of the way to what I have on 21 and just continues to kind of grow into that. It's just a little bit of ease. Who is right? So now you see the teeth are together, but it's just continuing to just have that little bit of that last little bit of like 10%, 5% into the shape. Who is it? So this is just a little bit of jaw open, feeling that. Those teeth come apart. Who is it? Who is it? I could probably go a little further, like with some sharpness. Oh, sorry, I keep hitting the presto hotkey there. With kind of a sharp pull back even further into a E for it. Maybe move the whole mouth up a little bit. Maybe the nose out just a bit with the nose. Right, and then is that's just a tongue thing, right? So I think this thing probably has a ton of tongue controls, but let's key it all again on 24. Is it and see if we can get this tongue to kind of, I don't know how this tongue works. Does it translate? So let's just roll that up so we kind of feel it. Kind of touch the back of the teeth. Is it? Let's move. It's a little slow. Is it? And then let's so the next sound is U, which is kind of usually a combination of E, U, E, U. So we're again going to kind of stay in the E. I might kind of stair step out of it, so because we've kind of been living in that a lot, and we want to feel some movement there. Who is it? U. Who is it? E. Who is it? E. You might kind of come out of it a little bit on the way to the U. So I'm noticing now, for whatever reason, I have a kind of straight. This is not a pose we made right here on 13. So I'm just going to take this tweener and make sure I'm still in my ooh there. Ooh. But maybe it's continuing to drop the jaw a little further into that. Bringing the nose down a little bit. Who is it? Okay, so I'm going to drop this tongue back out. Select all those tongue ones. Who is it? And then probably like pop the jaw open a little bit there. Oh, key everything. Who is it? Bring this lip down a little bit, and let's go ahead and bring our corners in some. They've been hanging out there for a while, so might release a little of this sneer. Bring the nose back down towards default a little. I'll start to bring these corners back in just a little. Just kind of relaxing a little bit of tension on our stair step, kind of to the ooh. Who is it? I'm sorry, this is probably like watching paint dry. It's not the fastest process, especially out of pose library. You can always copy your earlier poses and things to kind of make some of this quicker as you're going. Who is it? So now we're going to you. So by 30, let's key it all again. And here I'm gonna start by just copying this earlier ooh shape I have, right? So I'm just gonna copy this and paste it, which I do all the time. So we could start there and then see, if there's any other stuff we want to kind of push or adjust on this one. I'm gonna bring this out a little bit and kind of over. I want to bring this whole mouth kind of over a little bit to sort of display with like some asymmetry. I do want to keep the nose aligned with that when I bring it over. You just to make this one feel a little different for starters, since I know we're copying it. So maybe this one he rolls that lip out a little more. Then we do want to kind of have no teeth in there. Who is it, you? Who is it, you? And then by you don't have much time in that. By 32, I'm already hearing the TH. Because we're in a narrow shape, I don't need to get really wide for the TH. I want to probably stay pretty narrow for that. So I'm going to select all of the face. Let me go ahead and save this shot, because I haven't yet. So I want to take these corners. I'm going to use this tweener again. Oh no, I'm not. Yeah, let's see. You. So bring this back up. So the TH is important to kind of see the kind of teeth kind of biting the tongue. So we want to see some teeth. Still keeping this somewhat narrow. I'm going to keep some of the zipper on. And then I want to get this tongue. Again, I don't really know the proper kind of best tongue controls to use on this particular rig, but I want to just get that feeling of like tongue through teeth a little bit. So I want this jaw down enough to get that feeling. In this case, we're going to drop this lower. Lower nipple enough to feel that. Again, kind of get that 3/4 cheat, tucking that back corner. I still want to keep this feeling overall kind of like downturned. This corner, and maybe a little asymmetry. So we had pulled this out quite a bit, remember? So I want to just go ahead and take out that translate Z mostly. And because we're kind of raising that upper lip, we can go ahead and get a little asymmetry and stuff back in that nose. If you've moved it a lot, it's sometimes good to just zero everything to just gonna get back to like remember where, you know, so you're not like too offset. But I kind of just go by memory of what I know I did. Uh-oh. I built my, okay, so this is a good problem to show. So I built my TH on the wrong frame. I built it on 30 instead of 32. And so I'm just gonna just take this, just middle click to like a later frame and key everything there. And now take 32, middle click back to 30 and key that all there. And then just put my 34 here on 32. And so I just somehow accidentally got on the wrong key. So I need my ooh before my TH. So yeah, that's pretty good shape. Yeah, I could play with the. I forgot to zero these out from before, so see if those need anything. You know, later we'll kind of do a pass sort of on each, you know, individual control with kind of that connectivity in mind. But yeah, it really helps to see the wireframe on shaded of what's kind of moving with what, and if things are being kind of affected enough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, so we got our. So he stays in this TH for a bit and kind of grows into it. So when I'm in something for, you know, for a few frames, I just want to kind of be continuing to grow into it. So maybe these are, you know, it's basically just kind of showing this muscles tightening a little bit more. So going a little further in and kind of maybe raising up the whole mouth a little bit. And then maybe this jaw's closing just a bit. When I just want just a little bit of that rotation, I can hold down control and slide in here for a smaller amount, or I can take this make this manipulator smaller, bigger. This rotation manipulator will give me just a finer level of control to get just a little bit of change on that jaw. And so on this tongue, I might try to, like, I don't know, get just a little sense that that's kind of getting bitten. Oh, actually, I'm just realizing that this tongue is not. It wasn't part of the key all, I guess that was happening. Okay, so anyway, so maybe I do a little bit of this, pulling this whole mouth back. And again, we just kind of want to grow into that shape. It's still the same TH shape. We're kind of living in that pose. We're just giving it a little bit of change. So again, kind of thinking about the arc of this corner, I'm kind of keep it low, a little lower here, so that on the second kind of has somewhere to go. This kind of, again, just kind of following that same sort of arc. And I usually pay, you know, more attention to the closer corner in terms of arc. If I'm doing this kind of 3/4 cheat, this one's a little, you know, harder to get a sense of where it's at anyway, because it's tucked away in that, you know, tucked away in that cheat. But it can have a little growth as well. Who is it? Who is it? All right, so now we got to get into a, you know, think. We got to get that tongue back out of there and back into something toothy and kind of wider for think. Who do you think? We want to really feel that, you know, kind of the corners travel quite a bit there. So let's Skill again. And this is just one frame right now that I have it as, so he's coming out with quite a bit of gusto. Turn the zipper off. So we want that back one moving as well. We want this. A lot of teeth in an E, I think. Opening the jaw some. Let's get this tongue. It's just back default. I think it's probably fine. You know, and so you're thinking about like kind of like squashing and stretching. When your lips pull wide and you kind of get that straight, you know, in this case, you know, probably get the straight on the bottom lip. Your lips also tend to kind of like thin out as well. And so there's kind of a straightening and kind of thinning out of the lips that happens. So just kind of keep that kind of basic idea in mind as well. You're kind of building your shapes, so some of these, you know, can tend to actually move out towards the corners. So this corner's feeling a little high, so I'm going to just that's feeling a little kind of bucktooth and horsey, so I might not need that much in terms of the lip out. What do you think? Who do you, again, a little bit like watching paint dry, I know. Yeah, a lot of this is just kind of like feeling it out. It's like as I'm in there, you know, sometimes I you know, go too wide with the jaw and I pull back on it. But yeah, I know like I want to feel quite a bit of kind of like, you know, almost like forceful change. Because he's kind of talking with just talking kind of, you know, forcefully. But yeah, I don't know, you know, I'm not just looking for change. I don't have like exact shapes I'm necessarily even trying to like build or work from. I'm just like feeling those out as I go. That the change feels appropriate and that it feels kind of connected and you know, like there's musculature involved. I'm trying to keep this nose kind of in line with the middle of the lip. If I've gone kind of too far, just from like sliding the mouth over some of my other cheats, try to get that kind of back under control.
Who is it?
Right now, I feel like my jaw is not opening enough. I do think maybe I need a little more kind of change on the jaw there. And then we'll kind of close back into the K of think, which is not a specific mouth shape. You can kind of make that happens in the throat, the think. But I can have it kind of just continue a little further into that basic shape and with some jaw close there to kind of finish off that idea. Think, E, and again that's E-ur. So he's already kind of, you know, in a good E shape because of that. So you think you're... Oh, I think I accidentally got on the wrong frame. 38. I think you. So now we're going back to you. UC. So again, I'm gonna grab a ooh. I'm gonna grab that ooh. I already made it. I don't need to just like reinvent the wheel over and over. But, you know, I usually, like I say, just kind of adjust it a little bit each time, so it's not the exact same ooh. But, you know, he's still in the same attitude. He's not changed to a different type of attitude or anything. So this ooh, you know, is probably going to be, you know, it's a true ooh. Coming by it properly, at least. Again, I kind of know the idea of like the path and patterns I want these corners kind of following. Let's go in there and do a little bit of shaping. Right now that's just popping in one frame, so I know it's going to need more than that. So I probably just will back off this 38. We'll just move to 37. Delete that, just so I have more time to get into this ooh. But see, right now, obviously, with 2 frames, it's even. Maya's doing the in-betweens, and so after I kind of get all of my poses in here, I'm going to go back and do some, just with my tweener right here in the viewport, some breakdowns and be making those decisions about, am I favoring my consonant, am I favoring my vowel? So I don't do a whole heck of a lot in the graph, even when it comes to some of this facial, this lip sync stuff, especially on this first pass. But I am, when I'm thinking about my spacing and kind of punching it up and not getting an even, you know, kind of non-specific in between here, I'll just drop a breakdown, you know, on all of the mouth and just use my tweener and sort of favor things to get a little more punch there. So by 41, I'm here in the S. We'll drop another key there. I think I have S. So yeah, I might drop this as a starting point. But because I'm coming from such a narrow shape, and I know I'm going to an E, so I want to leave myself some range to kind of grow into the E. I'm going to back off of this a little bit. Keep it a little smaller, a little tighter. Pull this whole back again against those teeth. So sometimes once I get in these basic shapes again too, I might do some pushing to see if there's some places I can get a little more arc in the overall mouth, a little squash and stretch in the jaw, some of these types of things. I'm not doing much of that yet. I'm just kind of trying to get my basic shapes figured out and in there. But so here I'm noticing I have a kind of dead frame on the nose where this is coming up and getting a little wider, but I forgot to do anything to the nose there. So I might just add a little something to finish cushioning in the direction it was already going. Okay. So he holds that S pretty long. So this is another one where let's key all and then just continue kind of growing into that shape a little bit. What we're after here is tension, because he's really just, he's talking with kind of like a tense, kind of vitriol in his voice. Right, so we want things that feel like they're those muscles that have flexed or flexing more is what we're after. The feeling of, so continuing in the same direction. Right, a little more tension in the nose, a little more flaring of the nostrils. This is a case where if I do have some, I don't know if this is even the right control, but if there's some overall kind of squash, I don't know what that control does, but yeah, this is where I might get some. You just want to kind of feel tension, things flexing. So as he's holding that S, we just feel him C. And then we're gonna key all one last time, or one almost last time. And then we just get a little bit of jaw open for C. You see. And then we're just gonna go just a little further and deeper into the same idea of E. All the same stuff. Again, there's kind of there's just two major kind of things, primary kind of ins and outs, and this shot has a lot of each of them, and so there's who is it you think you see, it's that going wide to narrow, narrow to wide, wide to narrow, narrow to wide over and over, basically, is all this really happening in a shot like this. There's not a whole lot of like F's or M's or even some of those types of sounds. But you see, as every shape, as I'm trying to make it and change it, I'm looking for change, and I'm looking for connectivity, and I use those words a lot. But that's kind of the game. Is like, how do I make it look like stuff is flexing out, pulling out, or coming in? Ooh, ee, is this whole kind of shot. So anything that's supporting that. So here I don't like, I added this one like weird squash control or whatever, but I don't like seeing these teeth move. That's connected to the top part of your skull, so we shouldn't really feel these upper teeth move. So I'm gonna just get rid of what I did on that frame, on that control. I don't like that. I gotta find a better. I'm not sure which. If he has a control that's better for like the overall kind of like head squash. I've not used him a whole lot. Guess it's that. I think this is more for like rotating the bottom of the jaw, but not really. It doesn't seem to be good for. That's too much through the ears to really be a good squash and stretch control, in my opinion. So I'm just gonna leave that alone, that idea for now, until I find better controller. Let's see if there's something. Is there better? Oh, what is this? Chin. No. It's jaw. You might not have anything that's designed specifically for what I'm talking about. Well, that's interesting. Okay. So, yeah. So, think you see. And then he's just going to, over several frames, close back out of that and end up in his, whatever his final attitude is. It's just a grumpy kind of thing that maybe has relaxed a little bit, but not a lot. And he's just not too happy that she would even ask him that. How dare you not know that I am Heisenberg? So just in a nice, strong, aggressive, flared, thing. And yeah, so first pass without haven't goosed any spacing of breakdowns or anything.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see?
So you
think you see.
So this kind of poppy on think you see. So if I get back in there, right, this might travel too far, especially in terms of the wide. Maybe a little too far on these corners, so I'm going to take my tweener and just ease them back a little bit, and then again kind of take a look at what is their arc. Is there something I can do better on the arc of that? Now I'm just starting to just look at the flow between some of the shapes, that some of the ones that are hitting a little. Just working on the arc of this corner, seeing if I can get anything that's a little more natural. And again, everything's just keyed together right now. Everything's keyed. I'm just stepping through keys. Everything is just a pose. I'm treating it as a pose. I put it in kind of a straight ahead fashion, shape to shape, just building from one shape to the next shape. But I'm treating it as very much as a pose still. Everything is a pose together. This is usually how I kind of keep it. I don't do a lot of too much like offsetting and stuff in terms of that.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see?
I think I like blended neighbors a little better than tween. So again, let me wait. Where are my curves? Something's frozen. What's going on? Hope I'm not crashing. Oh, please don't be crashing. So my Maya crashed, but I'm back now, I think. So now I just want to do just a quick pass. I'm just going to select all of this. Let's just do it on all face and start to put in some breakdowns here so we can start kind of goosing our spacing. I'm going to turn off my curves. I think I don't really want to. I feel a little complexity on my top lip here. I think there's something in one of these controls that's getting introduced late. What is it? What's this little beat? don't feel this jumping down too much. So now I'm kind of just in sort of a straight ahead manner. I'm just looking for any sort of spacing and stuff that I can goose a little bit. I don't love seeing just this little sliver of teeth we've talked about before. So on this frame, I want to just make sure that lip is a little more down, or maybe move the whole mouth down a little more. But see how the mouth is kind of coming down, but then sort of like hits a wall and like stretches from there. We just want to kind of like in between that better. So maybe it has a little more of the rollout by the time we get to the end of the ooh, you know, who. Just kind of working on the shaping of some of that. Just kind of watching the arcs of the. So we're getting a little bit more of like that rollout feel. Who. Just looking for like overall screen space, like pleasing kind of patterns. But then like here you see like it's kind of a soft nondescript in between. So I might just drop a breakdown like here on 14 on everything. And just favor. I just favored staying in the ooh a little more. And then like this is a lot of frames from it. So I might drop just drop a breakdown on 16. This just favors that vowel before closing into the S. This one's a little soft from 26. Is it? I might try to, yeah, 29. I'm keying everything. I'm just gonna punch and get to that ooh a little faster. Right now it's kind of hitting and bouncing right off of that. So I'm gonna drop another one in 31 and just kind of stay in that ooh even a little longer. So we don't want to completely lock, but we just want to read it pretty well. So we want to, you know, kind of, we have 3 frames now of like mostly there, all the way there, just coming out of it. And then we can come with pretty good gusto into the TH because we know it's going to grow once we land there. And this is experimental. I haven't even hit play yet. I'm just kind of making some choices in terms of favoring and spacing. And then once I play it back, I'll start reacting to what I see and if it needs additional arcs or something like that. If stuff starts feeling like it's too clicky. What we just want is to add a little punch in this current pass I'm doing. I think this was already pretty punchy. And we actually came off it a little bit. This is a little nondescript. This is pretty even. Think you. So again, we might try to get close to that ooh a little quicker. And let me work on the shape of this a little bit. There's something kind of. We go ahead and get some of that zipper in. Ooh. I'm kind of thinking about the arc of where it came from and where it's going. And then here, again, I don't want it to really feel like it's bouncing off of that ooh, but I might just, might take just the kind of lip ones here. Kind of favor a little bit back more towards that ooh shape. So then when he comes into this, I might back off of this just a bit. Select all mouth. Just so it can really grow into that S. So it's narrow, pops pretty. And then drop one here, or maybe favor the E. So it has got a little pop into that, but then cushions a little bit. And then right now it's a little even closing, so again I might drop one more here and favor the vowel. So just with a quick pass on that, let's see how that's feeling.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see?
So there's still something
Who
in
is it you think you see?
you think you see that's a
Who
little
is it you think you see?
oh, sorry.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see?
Really kind of poppy, right, like right here. So let's see what we can do there. It's this one frame transition, so we might just go ahead and move 35 to 36, and let's see if that just what that fixes, because that part's just feeling a little too poppy.
You think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see?
And part of it is the corners are traveling kind of too far there, because it has to go U, wide, and then right back to ooh. So we might actually make this think just less wide in general. Let me pull up my graph editor. Let's find the translate X at that corner. It's hard for me to get all this on screen for you guys to be able to see. Right, so it goes way out and then has to go all the way back narrow here in the translate X. So let's just bring it in a little bit. We want that same kind of idea. With that same idea, well, let's just bring it in just a bit. So I like using this kind of like lattice thing sometimes to just like keep the same like spacing and like the same like relationship of things, but just bring it all like in a little bit to just favor that. And I might do it on the far corner. I'm selecting the far corner as well on its translate X. Just a little less wide there, and we might even do similar thing with how narrow it goes, because we're having to go wide, narrow, wide right in a row there. We might be able to get away with just a little less narrow too. So look at the other side and bring that up. So it's still a ooh, but not quite. This is what I talk about with that like relativism, where it's like it needs to be wider or narrower, but it doesn't necessarily need to go super narrow for that ooh. I guess I can move this up here because his eyes aren't important. So in a case like this, it's like just taking a little of the range off of this. Might actually do some good. I'm seeing teeth here that I don't want to be seeing for some reason. What is it, the back of the teeth? So I'm just through here gonna just drop these teeth and I'm gonna kind of like rotate them so I'm not seeing those until I want to be. I'm fine if they pop on. Yeah, okay, introduce them. Again, I don't want to feel these top teeth moving. I love feeling the flesh moving across and around those with them being solid. But the bottom teeth, you know, because the jaw and stuff is moving anyway, you can get away with a little bit more there. Okay, so let's see if this feels a little better.
Is it you think you see? Who 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 is it?
So like right now on is it is wait is well, we got a tongue penetration there, so let's favor that tongue. Back a little more.
You think you see? Who is it?
So on is it, I'm feeling the jaw really lock right here. Those teeth pop down and lock, right? So, in case like that, you know, these are the times when we are, you know, using the graph editor or a tweener. But well, I'll get in there a little more on something like this. Just see, you can see that plateau really clearly and obviously of the rotate X there. So even just looking at this, I'd probably delete this key.
Who is it?
Some of these places where it's just hitting a little hard. Right, it's like really hitting some of these plateaus. So I'm just gonna drop it a little bit. So it doesn't go completely dead and just kind of lock on that frame. And then here's another place where it's like you could probably let it just ease in a little bit more. As that grows, it's just gonna work a little better. And on something like this, I might even have it kind of, yeah, antic up first. Just to get a little more arc there. So now I have my Legos. I've made my building blocks, right? And so now I have things I can start to play with and adjust the timing of. As I continue to refine this, you know, I start paying more attention to mouth corners and arcs. But I've already built in a lot of the connectivity that I'm looking for. I've already been thinking about my nose. I've been thinking about those cheeks and that type of stuff. And so I can continue to kind of goose some of those ideas. I can, you know, come in here and refinement and say, okay, I don't want those teeth peeking out there. So let me just drop these teeth just a hair on that frame. Drop this lip, maybe just a hair on that frame. Just to kind of, you know, keep some of those ideas we were talking about alive. And then, you know, from here, it's just watching it and kind of refining it, seeing what can use a little more life.
Who is it you think you see?
This is definitely, you know, kind of a blocking pass, but it's like, I can see some places where the nose is kind of hitting and sticking. I'll go in and do those same things on you know, probably the Translate X or whatever, you know, controls I was using on that. In the graph, just looking for those, again, those kind of plateaus where things are hitting kind of clear, obvious, kind of clear and obvious plateaus that could use a little keep alive, like here. I'll just drop that a little bit, like delete that key, you know, just anything that's kind of like added complexity that I don't necessarily need. You know, this is probably a weird plateau here. You know, all this should be an auto tangent. It may or may not be. Some of these things that are hitting a little hard, just reducing the feeling of that, deleting some stuff where there's complexity. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of watching at this point, like watching as I go through and seeing, are there things that are hitting too hard or that don't need some of these keys directly on ones next to each other, just blowing things away.
Who is it you think you see?
Any place where something's just feeling a little too, like this jump up on, I feel this whole nose jump up on one frame here and kind of hit. So we check the TY. right, it's right here. I'm feeling that hit really hard, so I'll probably just take a little off of the range of that and let that just kind of ease in. So the same idea of what I had. I just take a little off it.
You think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it?
And then this drop feels maybe a little aggressive, so maybe I just take a little off the range of that. Again, I like to use this type of thing. So we want the distance to feel consistent of that whatever that upper lip in the nose is, but if it feels like it's moving too much, we can back off of it. And then this is like a really fast kind of one frame jump up, so maybe this is more more gradual. Again, I'm using my tweener to drop that as another way. You know, maybe this is a little too much. But yeah, I just kind of from there just kind of almost sort of polishing it. But my timing and stuff is pretty close. My spacing has, you know, adequate pop, maybe too much pop in some places, so I can pull back on that pop with the tweener. But everything's just kind of being treated as a drawing, as a pose right now. I haven't done like a lot of offsetting and stuff. I might go through and delete some keys here and there on certain parts that don't need that much information.
Who is it you think you see?
Just to get some fleshiness, but a lot of the fleshiness and connectivity comes from just how, you know, just how I built it. As I was kind of putting in the shapes and thinking about that. And again, just to reiterate for the umpteenth time, having that wireframe unshaded is useful. And when you have it just kind of flat like this, it can be hard to see some of those relationships as well. But this really gives a sense of like, as you're kind of, you know, stepping through those keys of like what's doing what, and making it feel really kind of musculature, or, you know, muscly, anatomical, and kind of hitting those extremes and then letting it just ease into that a little bit, and really kind of favoring your you know, some of your poses a little more. Use a tweener a lot, you know, if I'm getting rid of teeth or something.
You see? Who is it you think 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 you see?
Right now on Who Is It, I feel like I get too wide too fast, and then it kind of lives there in a way that I don't love. So I might do on Is It, not have it go as wide yet. And then have it pop more into the Who Is It, the it part. But right now on the is and it kind of feel too close together. Sorry, this is like the longest demo ever. Right, so it gets most of the way there, and then it just has that last like little bit. So I might actually take this, take all of this and just bring it down. And then have it have a sharper pop into it.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think?
I think I like that a little bit more. You know, I'm gonna play with exactly how much or how little, but yeah. When I do start kind of offsetting some of these things, that can start to give me interesting arcs as well, based on, you know, the jaw timing. But the most stuff I usually kind of do in the graph is just kind of cleaning up some of these hard hits, and then getting my kind of jaw flap timing, so stuff's not just hitting hard kind of plateaus like this. And you know, and like I said, kind of working some of my. I can work some kind of like antics into this too. Just mildly. You don't usually, I don't need a ton of that, but sometimes just a little bit of antic, because it can help you give some energy going into it.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you
I
think
don't really
you
like
see?
how wide it even goes for it. Is it? It's just a little wide, almost a little off model, particularly on this left side. So I might just take this whole idea and bring it lower. Again, I love this control. So just take a little of that range off of there.
Who is it you think you see?
Yeah, once I have, like I say, once I have my Legos, now I'm using, again, my animator brain. I did all of this out of my animator brain, right? I just know what appealing mouth shapes look like and can find them on him, just kind of sculpting and finding what feels right. I'm not going from reference or anything. I'm going from what I'm hearing and what is, just finding it on his face, which I kind of like. It keeps it more fresh, a little more, room for happy accidents and stuff. And then I'm just using my eye to see, does the timing feel right? Can the spacing, is the spacing too soft? Is it too sharp? Is something hitting a wall? Could it use a little more fleshiness? And then I just continue kind of refining it from there. So this is another place where like the direction shifts really hard and fast. I can tell even from the graph. So I might take a little off the range of that. Might do this instead. Might keep this down and let it pop more into C. And then this overall C might be too wide again. Now that I'm looking at it, might even go a little off model when it goes quite this wide. So I might bring that in some.
Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it?
Now I'm feeling like that corner at the end, arc-wise, I see it go up and then do like a really kind of sharp just down, and then kind of translate Y. So I can go in there and kind of finesse the arcs of that a little bit in the Y. It might just be that it needs to stay up a little higher. Let's see. So here I can just kind of finesse some of those arcs to be a little more specific. I'm just looking just at that kind of corner arc. And it's actually, if I arrive a frame or two later on just that axis, you can get some kind of nice kind of fleshiness in that too.
You see? Who is it you think you see? Who is it you think you see?
But I do want to tie, whatever's happening kind of with that corner to the nose. I don't want to get too offset from that. Right now, this last bit of nose, I feel just kind of drop straight down too much versus wide and, kind of having a little more arc on that. So that's another thing you could look at. But anyway, I'm not going to go fully into polish on this, but that's my approach to lip sync most of the time, especially from scratch. If I had a pose library, you'd see me doing kind of more blending from that and just dropping in poses, not full. I never like double click and drop like a full pose in. It's usually blending some amount as I kind of make that, but it's even better for you to see me do it, have done it from scratch. But yeah, that's kind of how I arrive, especially at a blocking pass of this, and then from there it's polishing like you would polish anything else, just looking for things that feel wrong and addressing them. So hopefully that was useful. Sorry it was so long. I think it's like an hour and a half, but thanks for watching, and I will see you guys.
Who is it you think you see? 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 Who is it you think you see?
Cool.